Hate incident, race. Racist incidents take many forms but include verbal abuse, graffiti and damage to property, physical assault and threats of violence and intimidation, which has occurred or perceived to have occurred by reasons of race, colour, nationality or ethnic origin.
My name is Priscilla Maramba, and I am here because I was invited by FIAC to come and give a contribution towards a film production that they're making on hate crime, because I've experienced it and my children have experienced it. And I'm also a person who's just interested in contributing to the society to make sure we have a society that we all want to live in. I thought that's a good opportunity for me to make my voice heard. Yes, I could start with myself, but really I didn't really have anything direct as far as someone talking to me in a way that would make me feel this person is committing hate crime. But I've had experiences, particularly when I was at college, of where other students, they made me feel that I was not wanted, I wasn't welcome because of the fact that I was of a different color. Actually, I was the only one who was black at the time, and the rest were white, and they were also young. They would deliberately walk away from me, and I would try to sit with them, and they would stand up straight away in their large numbers and leave me all by myself. And that was also happening even in the canteen. And I would go and sit with people, though they were not of my class. I would go and sit with them, and they all would just take their trays and go to another table. Now, that was very shocking, very terrifying, and although I was a person who was full of confidence and blending very well with other people, that kind of like knocked me off balance, and I felt low self-esteem and I lost my confidence. And there was actually a point where I felt, should I continue with my studies or should I just quit and leave? But then later on I decided, no, that was playing about with my future, so I wasn't going to let that sort of behavior stop me from pursuing my goals. So I just continued with my studies. But the surprising thing is, when the results of our assignments started coming back to us, they would come and ask me what mark I'd got. And when they realized that I was getting decent marks, they started wanting to talk to me. So yeah, I experienced that. It was a very lonely time, a very painful time, traumatizing, but you go through that. Apart from myself, my children, when they came 2 years after, I then decided I wasn't going to let my children live in that area where I had experienced that the sort of behavior from other people. So I moved to another place where there were people of other nationalities. But surprising to me, my children actually experienced far worse than I experienced. But that time, the good thing was that I had started now volunteering in a Citizens Advice Bureau. So I was now equipped with training not to just put up with the racism, not to put up with any discrimination or harassment on the grounds of my race. And also, I was also taught not to ignore it, which is what I thought was very important, but to actually challenge the people who were doing that and tell them that it was not right, it was unlawful, it was actually a crime. So when my children started experiencing that, I went to school and I spoke to the headmaster about the situation. So what would happen is some children would come to my daughter and they would say, why is it that your skin is dark? Is it because you don't bath well? Look at our skin, it's nice, it's white. And others would go and touch it, and they would run to their friends to go and touch them, and the friends would run away because it's like they were showing that I've touched something dirty, so I'm going to smear it on you. So those will be running away in order to keep themselves clean. And also they experienced the isolation bit where no one would want to sit with them in the class. And when it was a group work, if my daughter had touched any book, no one would want to touch it because it was dirty. And they would say, go back to your country. They would say things like, you are a monkey. They said all sorts of things. But the surprising thing is it was not the white people who were doing that. That school was predominantly another race. and few white people. Although the white people also had a contribution, but the bulk of what they experienced in that place was from the people from another nationality, which I found very interesting, because I thought people would experience only that from the white people. So after confronting the headmaster, he had to speak to the whole school about my children, because they were the only children of a different race at that school. And then we moved to yet another place where I think this place is going to be better. And when we moved to that new place, my children continued to experience that. But I think because that's what transpired when I asked them why they didn't tell me. They said, because we know if you speak to them, it actually gets worse. But I have always told them that speak about it, that the only way to challenge the racists is to confront them and to report them, so that the matter will be dealt with. So what happened eventually is I just found one day when I came from work, my daughter came from school, and she was crying. She was in such a miserable state, and she was holding her shoes in her hands. And I asked her what was the problem, and she said there was this group of young people at school who were 2 years junior, who had been taunting her for more than a year at school, and they would call her names, they would pick up leaves, and they would say, "You monkey, here is your food, eat the leaves," and they would repeat the same things, "Go back to your country." And some would come and touch her hair, and they would say, "Oh, what's the matter with your hair? Why is it like that?" It came to a point whereby my daughter didn't want to move about with her hair uncovered. She started putting on a bandana, something which she never used to do, but she never told me that's what was happening. I learned it that particular day when she came home miserable. And she said that day what pushed matters to her head was it was the time of snow, so they would wait until they're out of the school grounds, and then they would make snowballs and they would attack it with the snowballs. So that particular day, she said the attack was so vicious that her feet were swollen, and she had to walk with the shoes in her hands. So that's when I said, I'm not putting up with this, and I just picked up the phone and I was raging, and I spoke to the police, and I was so pleased that the police phoned back within a short time, and we arranged a meeting which was suitable to my needs, because I was going to work and I was starting work around 9:30, but they agreed to come earlier, so they came around 7:30 in the morning, and we had an interview with my daughter. And then after that, they went to school, they spoke to the school. So my daughter reported back that the school had spoken to the boys concerned, and the police had been to school as well. And the boys stopped. Some of them actually went and apologized to her, but nothing of that sort ever happened to my daughter again. And she is doing brilliant at school. I've been called several times to pick up or to when she was being given awards, and I've really been very pleased with the way the whole thing is gone, the support from the school, the support from the police. I'm just pleased with that. Yes, I am the sort of a person who we have come to believe that in order to stop certain behaviors from continuing to happen, the only way is to challenge and to make sure you use the legal procedures or the legal avenues that are in place to challenge that and to support you as well, because it's quite a traumatizing experience. On your own, you might feel, I can't deal with this, but with support, it is possible. I would urge anyone who comes across any discrimination, any harassment, any bullying on account of their race, any hate crime of any sort whatsoever, not to put up with it. Don't put up with it. It is a crime. It's intolerable. It doesn't build a good society. Confront the person, report it, and it will be dealt with.